Hi, I'm from Monkton, obviously. Our project, thank you also for the tiny grant for this project from last year. We did an invasives removal project. We in June 2022, we purchased 2 uprooter tools to be used for mitigation of buckthorn and other invasive trees and shrubs, particularly honeysuckle, but we focused on buckthorn. And this is 2 members of our Conservation Commission enjoying digging up buckthorn. Next slide. In June of last year, we did have a workshop after we got the uprooters at our central school, and that wood you saw on the last slide was at the Monkton Central School behind. There's some property that has quite a bit of buckthorn in it. And we had a talk with, or Travis Hart from VT Fish and Wildlife came and presented and talked about different invasive, the major invasive species, plant species that we were dealing with. We had 21 attendees, including the Conservation Commission members and the Monkton community members, and a few people came from other towns as well. Next slide. After the presentation, we did have a brief work session so people could try out the uprooters. And we did tell our community members that that the tools were available to be checked out if they want to use them on their own property. We actually we bought those 2, and then we ended up purchasing another one later in the year with our own funds. And then 3 of us, I think, each have our own as well. So altogether, we probably have 7 of them, and we're happy to loan those out to anybody who would like to use them and go after buckthorn or honeysuckle. Next slide. So we had two more work sessions in August and October. Again, this is the Monkton Central School Woods. You can see a few more people. 8 people came to this particular session, and then at the next one there were 5. Next slide. And our intent is to have this be ongoing, to have several sessions per year, to continue. We do continue to work, and we're getting quite a pile of buckthorn. Unfortunately, one of the things you have to deal with is weather, and I'm sure as all of you know. So we did have another session in June this year, and we had one scheduled earlier this month, but that was the weekend that the tropical storm Philippe came through, and a huge downfall, and it's not fun out there in the mud trying to dig buckthorn, so we canceled that session. But we'll continue to try to have 2 or 3 per year, but they do unfortunately compete with our wild parsnip sessions, which are held in the summer, so we have to try to do both. Next slide. And so successes, here's the pile of buckthorn that we keep adding to. At this point, of course, it's all the leaves are gone, and it makes a nice brush pile for wildlife too, so that can be helpful. We do have, as you can see, a decent number of the shrubs that have been and trees that have been removed. Some of them are actually so large that a couple of our Conservation Commission members ended up using chainsaws, but they are both trained in chainsaw use, so it was safe. And I did want to mention also one of the presentation attendees from Cornwall at the presentation last summer then had Travis come to Cornwall, and they did a presentation there, and I think they had maybe close to 30 members, she said. Then also he came and looked at her individual property and gave her advice about invasives. And there was another attendee at that who was there from Weybridge and did the same thing. So Travis is pretty wonderful about going out, and I think there may be other people in Vermont Fish and Wildlife that may do the same thing and give advice on invasives on people's private property. Next slide. And challenges, it's difficult. It was wonderful to see with the amphibians that you had a large group of young people. We seem to have a core group, which is kind of our Conservation Commission, 5 of us. So we typically get 5 or 6 people at every session, and that's about it. We do definitely advertise on Front Porch Forum and the Addison County or the Addison Independent, but it's hard to get people to show up, particularly I think because this is an ongoing project, and we're asking every year, and we are competing. It's the same people doing the wild parsnip, and after a while there's a bit of burnout involved, I think. In fact, my next door neighbor said, oh, when I told or asked her about coming, she said, oh, we did that about, I think it was before I was actually here, so five years ago. But it's kind of people cycle in and out apparently, and those of us who are diehards we'll probably die still digging buckthorn, but that's the way it is. Anyway, it's still fun. I enjoy doing it. I like going after the invasives. There's a real feeling of satisfaction. So again, thank you for the opportunity to present our information to you and our slides, and also for the grant. And we'll just keep going after that buckthorn. Thank you.